can tell you right now, I'm not seeing any come out of the pipe now that it's been at load a couple times and had a chance to actually, yeah, burnt rubber, baby. Had a chance to clean. That's a win. That's a win. We're at least onto something here. For many decades, everybody from the DIY home mechanic to the shade tree to the big expensive shops have argued on the validity of gas and oil additives to clean engines and resolve issues. Can they clean the motor? Can they clean it well enough to reduce or eliminate oil consumption, smoke out of the tailpipe, fix rough idles, improve economy, improve power? Well, today we're going to use this nearly all original 331,000 mile Toyota pickup truck as the test bed. It could use a ring job. We've got some oil consumption. We've got some smoke out of the tailpipe. But we're going to see if this ATS Chemical 505, and we're doing the 1-2 punch of the CRF fuel treatment and the CRO oil system treatment together to see if this can help. We're also going to follow it up with a brand new oil change and this Rislone McRizzleton high mileage ring seal smoke repair. Will this work? Spoiler alert, yes. But that doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. So let's go through the process of what we did here and what we're working with and see if maybe that can apply to you. Hey, well, I got you here. Got a little surprise for those of you that watched the first video and know what's coming. Long tube headers. So here's how this is going to go. The oil in it, I'm pretty sure is just a full conventional. It's dirty, it's nasty, it needs changed anyway. So we're gonna run this ATS Chemical 505, the fuel treatment in the tank with 5 additional gallons on top of the 1 or 2 that's in there. So it's about a 7-gallon total in the tank, as it's a pretty stout mixture. And then we're also gonna run the 505 oil treatment as it's instructed on there for 10 minutes because it needs changed anyway. This is not a long haul, leave it in the oil pan solution. This is a flush or a aggressive chemical cleaning. So then we're gonna dump all that out, put some cheap motor oil in it with a cheap Fran filter. I would never run that long term, but I just need that to basically house the Rislone McRizzleton ring seal smoke repair. People either say this does nothing all the way to completely salvaging a 300,000 mile engine. So we're gonna give it a try. I'm not sponsored, affiliated with any of these guys. It's just some good products that I've heard good things about and have had good results. So let's get started. All right, so I have disconnected the battery. Now we're gonna pull out spark plugs, if I can figure it out. And bore scope cylinders. I will note that these have recently been changed. I believe he did this whenever he did the head job on the motor. So these are actually pretty good. There's a little bit of oil on it, but it's not crazy. Spark plug for cylinder number 2. Pretty similar to cylinder number 1. A little bit dirty, not outrageous. Cylinder 1 reeks of burned oil. Bad news on cylinder 3, it is disgusting. Cylinder 4 looks less bad than cylinder 3, but not as good as 1 and 2. Way too dirty. So we actually can't see too much on this bore scope here, but I can tell you that there is a little bit of a gouge mark on the cylinder wall. But around the outer edges and even here and there on the top of the cylinder, like here, we even have some clean silver parts. So it's not filthy in cylinder 1. Here's the top of cylinder 2, and it is caked up, crusty, nasty. So cylinder 3 is less crusty, but it is visibly wet with oil. Cylinder 3's got problems. Here is cylinder 4, and similarly to cylinder 1, it has some clean portions on the top of the piston. The cylinder wall doesn't look terrible, and it's not visibly wet with oil. So before we put these back in and run the 505 in the top and the bottom of the motor, I did soak the spark plugs in a combination of premium fuel and just like 12 drops of what was rolling around the bottom of the canister of the fuel additive. And cylinders 1 and 2 look okay. Cylinder 3 and 4 are still kind of musty, but it looks like they still have proper gap and they're not jammed up. So I think it's going to run just fine. After all, it's a 22R. I could probably put a flint and steel in there and it'd still roll over just fine. Here's something y'all probably hadn't seen in a while. Needs a key. So first thing we're gonna add is the ATS Chemical 505 CRF fuel system treatment. It smells strong. Smells like your grandma's attic. Add to 5 to 10 gallons and run it. So now we are chasing that fuel system cleaner with 5 fresh gallons of fuel. So we just finished the 10-minute round of ATS Chemical 505 CRO oil system treatment. High idle at 10 minutes, and then we're supposed to change the oil. But real quick, let me show you guys how much less smoke is coming out now versus just before. Ah, my foot! So if I give it a blip, I can induce smoke if I just hammer down, but it's not putting like it was. So we're at least onto something here. Oil change has been done. Sun is going down. Again, 5W30 Valvoline high mileage synthetic blend and Rislone Rizzleton 9000 ring seal smoke repair. I've put out 3.5 quarts. Good God Almighty. Good thing I went with a 530 instead of like a 1040 or something. That's crazy. I can tell you right now, I'm not seeing any come out of the pipe now that it's been at load a couple times and had a chance to actually, yeah, bird rubber baby, had a chance to clean. That's a win. That's a win. That just saved me about $2,000 or $500. Let's take a look at the oil and the oil filter. It's gritty. It's dark, but I'm seeing an incredibly low amount of glitter. And this is a magnet that I put in the drain. The thing I drained the oil into, so all the oil had to run past that. I don't really see, but maybe a couple of specks of glitter on that. And then on the actual filter here, there we go. I mean, it's sludgy. Look at that. But that's a big fat lump of sludge. Which, I mean, if we're gonna find it anywhere, in the filter is preferable because that means it's been filtered out. Oh yeah, sludge on sludge in here. And it stinks so strong of that 505 additive. Just chunks of fudge. Fudge. Just tons and tons of sludge and duck butter between pretty much every single pleat. There's another big fat log of sludge right there. Look at that. Big old hunk of sludge right here. And because I put this in an old oil, I don't know if this would have been here before or after the additive. Like, I don't know if this was already caught in the filter media or if this stuff that we stirred up and caught. There's a decent chance it's a mix of both of those. Look at that. That's a sample of the oil. Caught it as we were doing the change. And it's just, oh my goodness. I mean, it's ink. I was gonna try and look at it and see what we could see, but I really can't see much of nothing. It's just been in there too long. It should have been changed sooner. That being said, it's a 22R. She'll live to see another day, almost no matter how you treat it, but we're gonna give her a little bit of a pampering compared to this right here. So now let's go pull the plugs and take a peek inside of the valve train and the cylinders with the bore scope. All right, I've got out all the spark plugs. So here's a look at cylinder 1. Remember we cleaned these and then rearranged them? So this was the dirtiest, and now it's in the cleanest cylinder. It does have a little bit of soot on it, but it's not wet. And we have a little bit of this ashy white right here, which I believe is likely us still working through the last remaining heat and moisture, HEET, yellow container fuel additive. And since heat is pure meth, that usually will leave a little bit of white residue. So we'll pull these out from time to time and take a peek. But cylinder 1 looks good. Cylinder 2, same story as cylinder 1, a little bit of carbon deposit on the tip, but it's not wet, a little bit of that ashiness, which again, I think is us working through the last remaining water and meth mixture at the bottom of the tank. Cylinder 3 still appears to be our problem child. It is all sooty. It is damp, but not wet, and it's not gummy like it was before. So even though this still seems to be the problem cylinder, it looks like we're resolving some of those issues. So this will be a good one to pull out and check up on a little bit more frequently, since we know that cylinder 3 is the issue here. And spark plug for cylinder 4. It's like 3, but less bad. It's actually not damp, it's not wet. We just have a decent amount of soot on it. So I think it's just cleaning that cylinder out. Bore scope inside cylinder 1. While not setting the world on fire, it is cleaner by just a little bit around the edge of the ring than it was before. Here we're looking at cylinder 2. Yes, we have carbon, but there's some chunks knocked off. That's a good sign. Cylinder 2 is getting clean. It's got some work to do, but it is working. Cylinder 3, this is tough to see, but this is a big one. It's no longer wet, and it is being cleaned. Very nice. And here we are at cylinder 4, once again near top dead center, so we can't see much, but what we do see is not wet. There's no big chunks of carbon. There's no big buildup. It looks nice. So yes, it does appear that we can in fact pour liquid chemical magic into the engine and through internal deep cleaning resolve some issues, like the smoking of the tailpipe is almost completely resolved, and we just did a 10-minute clean along with running some fuel system cleaner through it. We've just begun the cleaning and restoration journey of this vehicle, so subscribe if you want updates, because we're gonna keep pulling plugs, keep looking at it, seeing how much more we can improve it. We're about to do headers, we're gonna be painting it, interior, shocks and struts, bushings, deep cleaning it, doing a lot of stuff to this to make it ready for another 300,000 miles. So subscribe to stay on top of this series. Thank y'all so much. Drop comments down below if y'all have any suggestions, if you have any experience with this chassis and the 22R motor that will point me in the right direction. Thank y'all so much. Have a great day. All right, man, classic Toyota. Classic Toyota. Beepity beep, bop, boop. Always beeping, always making some noise.